About Backup Uganda, we are an organization based in Gulu, and we develop sustainable support for children with learning difficulties and learning disabilities. So, of course, that includes children with dyslexia. And we do, just like Chaninga does, we do a lot of teacher training. We work with parents quite a bit. Today, if you've come as a parent, just know you'll be seeing me later. But that's what Backup does. And we're very excited to be part of this team of partners that are all almost doing the same, but all slightly different, but all focusing on inclusive education as much as possible. So it's an honor to be part. Thank you. Thanks, Claire, for hosting.
Thank you very much. I am Sarah Leah Diana from the National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda. I am a program officer for inclusive education. The National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda is an umbrella organization of all disabled persons in the country. We are a membership organization. We have members like the Association of the Deaf, the Blind, people living with epilepsy, people living with albinism, Little Persons of Uganda. We have people living with mental health, people living with intellectual disabilities. We have women with disabilities and many more. So our main job is to do advocacy, to ensure that persons with disabilities live a dignified and prosperous life. And it is because of this that we are able to have such brilliant partners to come up to advocate for learners with dyslexia or persons living with dyslexia. I thank the team so much. I thank Claire for hosting us this year. The team has done a lot of work in the background. I thank you so much for the work you've done. So that is the National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, NUDIPU. I'm also a Rotarian, and I thank the Rotarians for donating to Hill Preparatory School. Thank you so much. The Governor, thank you for gracing this occasion. This speaks volumes about inclusion. Yes, thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of us. My name is Blessing Ahereza, the Marketing Manager for Opportunity Bank. I am here with my colleague from Opportunity Bank, as well as Lena right there. I'd like to thank all of you for organizing such a tremendous event. And for all of you who have honored it, we are really grateful that Claire and your team have gone out to make sure that we honor Dyslexia Day. And we are glad to be a part of it because Opportunity Bank has great love for people with disabilities, and on inclusion we go way, way, way big. So we are very happy to partner with you, and we will continuously do the same. My colleague Doreen will have something to share, but I would like to thank all of us for being a part of such a great cause that wants to make people feel very welcome, very special, and I hope that we continuously do so to make sure that these people feel included, comfortable, and to create a better space for them. Opportunity Bank has great products for people like we are here. So I feel free to pass by Lena and get one or two pieces of our products. They're quite good and you will be able to love them. Doreen?
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. My name is Doreen Nakaziva. I am the Education Finance Manager at Opportunity Bank. At Opportunity Bank, we value education, and that's the reason I'm here. We want every child to have a chance to learn, improve themselves, get better every other day. And so as a bank, we have a lot of things we do for the children, for the schools, and even the parents themselves. We look at the whole ecosystem as a whole. We don't want to exclude anybody in the chain. But since we're given 3 minutes, I will end here for now. Thank you.
Our chief guest, the governor, all protocol observed in the interest of time. Dr. Eria Paul Njuchi, one, a person living with dyslexia, self-diagnosed, because that is my specialty. I did disability diagnostics, so I discovered I'm one. So that has been the passion for over the years, and I'm a pioneer special needs teacher in Uganda, now serving like 37 years in the field. So a lot of work has been going on, so I have a lot of motivation for this. I would like to thank the team for putting together a function like this. The first one was held last year at my venue in Kachiri, so we are proud that the baby has grown to this level, and we think sky is not the limit. Would like to thank Claire. Claire, I benchmarked from her. When she started a school here, I thought of parents who are living up country. So for me, I did a boarding one. So there is a replica of this facility in Kachiri, which has got levels of preschool, primary, secondary, and tertiary, just in case. But specifically for people with dyslexia, 90% of the students have dyslexia. I'm blessed to be part of this movement. Hope we shall share more as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we've utilized our 3 minutes, and you have the background of who the people are behind this proposal, and you know where we are going forward. Thank you all. Dr. Njuchi, you should be sitting there, because Doctor is going to be the keynote speaker. I think my second job was to invite the guest of, what am I supposed to do?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There's
Okay.
that job and it's coming up. But thank you so much, Claire. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to all our previous speakers. Thank you for the great work that you have done. Thank you for making this day a success.
Yes, and I think special thanks to Rotary Club of Tinda Metropolitan. I think you've donated the stove and the oven. So I guess you guys are the sponsors of lunchtime. So thumbs up to you guys. Thank you so much. Now, I'm sure there's some people who are present here that either think they know about dyslexia but are not very clear, or some who are in my category have no idea about dyslexia. The next speaker is going to fix that. Angela?
Yeah, as we wait to know about the next speaker, I just want to put out a fun fact. I am a person living with dyslexia. So if you're wondering, how does a person living with dyslexia look like? Well, look no further than Angela. So over the next 20 minutes, we are going to listen to an oversight or a deeper understanding of dyslexia. What is dyslexia? So we're going to find out that in the next 20 minutes. So the person who is going to take us through this session is a PhD holder in special needs education, and he is a specialist in child and language disability, dyslexia and autism testing, and tutoring specialist. He's an independent consultant in special needs education, and he is the CEO of Squami, and also he's the director of schools. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. or Dr. Njuchi Arias.
Where best? Is it here or there? Okay. As I told you, I'm a teacher. Right. Our honorable guest of honor, partners in this room, parents, teachers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. In the interest of time, I think I need a timekeeper. Because as I've told you, I've got a history of close to 60 years living with dyslexia. So the practical experience together with the theory, I've studied dyslexia to PhD level. So I'm a researcher. Now, I need somebody to limit my my speed and content so that we fit. Ah, you are there. That's great. So, countdown starts now. This is a keynote address on dyslexia by me, Eria Paul Njuchi, by God's grace, a CEO of SQUAMI. SQUAMI is Special Needs Quality Assurance and Monitoring Initiative. That organization comprises professionals in the field of special disability and inclusion. So we try to come together and strategize. Our vision is to ensure that all children get comprehensive, quality, inclusive education. So we situate ourselves as a standards agency working towards having a team that can advise this country on how to support children with special needs. That's what we do on one hand. On the other, I'm a director of Mukono Integrated Schools. My staff are over there. Could you rise for recognition? Just 30 seconds. We have the principal, director primary, director secondary, director vocational. As I told you, why did I do that? Because transition for these learners is a nightmare, because there is still limited knowledge about dyslexia. Let me dive into the issue of dyslexia. What I know. Maybe Lydia, could you come? You'll give him one sheet at a time. Sometimes dyslexia has come along with the comorbidities. One of them is ADD that I will be explaining. I'm highly disorganized. So I need someone to organize me. So she's an assistive personnel. She's my firstborn, Lydia. You see the size? Yeah, closer. And that's my mother's size. So that's why we are like that. Could you give me one sheet at a time so that I can manage? Yeah, and our learners with the dyslexia, they need this. They may get to the first page, they go to the 50th page, skipping all the other pages. I think I'm there. Just give me one at a time. Yeah. If I don't read it verbatim, I will not keep time. Yeah. Okay, can I have the first one as well? Okay. All right. Okay. So I've introduced myself. And I want to dive into some bit of literature because you are missing out some statistics, darling. Yeah. So that's the trouble with dyslexia, this organization. Could be because, let me go this way. I take great pleasure in joining you for this second Dyslexia Awareness Day celebrations at Hill Preparatory School here in Naguru, Kampala. I take this opportunity to thank all of you, especially the Department of Special Needs and Inclusive Education at the Ministry of Education and Sports, and all partners for organizing such a significant occasion. Obviously, we have worked as a team, but behind us is the Ministry of Education and Sports. There is nothing we can do unless we seek their approval. They are behind this, so we are not isolated, we are not an island. So would like to, I think the commissioners and other teams will be arriving shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is very timely. It is critical for all of us to exhaust all available opportunities to ensure that all children, regardless of ability, are included in all aspects of life, especially education. Remember, children and young people, could you hold that? And young people make up 73.5% of the Uganda's population. That is before yesterday's statistics were yet to be updated. So, but before the census release yesterday, I think I'm just talking about what it is now. 50% of these are children, 23.5% are youth, according to UBOS of 2024. Not very old, though. Investing in this section of the population is a huge investment for our future. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it. So by doing what we are doing, we are preparing for a better tomorrow for our kids. Dyslexia is a learning difficulty, maybe for I want to say this with a lot of reservation because there are so many definitions of dyslexia. But what I can't, a difficulty, not a disability. It's a challenge. You have seen how I muddled up the papers, but finally I got there. If we do the right things, we can get our kids reach the milestones. Countries define dyslexia differently, but the converging agreement about a definition is that it is a condition that gives someone a brain that functions differently. When you have dyslexia, your brain is not the same as the other person who doesn't have it. How does it differ? So it differs in the composition. Obviously, all of us, as we know, we have got a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. In people with dyslexia, the right hemisphere is 10% larger than the left, while in so-called normal people, the hemispheres are the same size. This is drawn from functional magnetic resonance imaging studies done at Harvard University and also the National Institutes of Health in the United States. Dyslexia, it is an inherited condition. Inherited, meaning that parents are involved. When you see me dyslexic, you should think about my mother and father. Although common practice is that, although parents struggled in school, they want their children to excel. But you know, a bean produces a bean. A maize, you can't get maize from sorghum. So in the case of dyslexia, it is the case that either one of the two parents has had it or both of them. Most likely both, because birds of the same feathers flock together. Dyslexia can affect both spoken and written language. You hear this when people are talking, you can hear dyslexia. Why? You hear a lot of redundancies when they're speaking. You know. Maybe at the end of the session, you rediscover whether you are or you are not. We call that one dysnomia, a word retrieval difficulty. Dysnomia. It is a specific language-based disorder of a constitutional origin characterized by difficulties in single-word decoding, usually reflecting insufficient phonological processing abilities. The sound system, it is an auditory problem, not a visual problem. Although most kids with dyslexia are compelled by their parents to wear glasses. Dyslexia is not due to a visual problem. It is an auditory problem, a failure to master phonological skills. Sound. It is sound-based. So, this in itself means trouble with, and lexia means words. So if you have dyslexia, you have trouble with words, either the way you speak them or the way you write them. Misconceptions. Most people and parents too wrongfully do motivate the children with dyslexia by urging them to try harder. And teachers do that. When you write your paper and things are not good, they say, try harder. Double your efforts. It's not about doubling. You have already tripled. By the time they tell you to double, you have tripled. And it is so frustrating. They bribe the child. When you do well, I'll buy you a car. I'll buy you a pen. It's not about bribes because you have not changed my brain. I've remained the same. They punish the child. Schools have Monday. Those who performed poorly come. They come on parade. They give them sticks, strokes. How many of you received them when you were growing up? Those who failed to perform up to an average level, they were punished. I think, forgive the teachers because those are sins of ignorance. Yeah. A little bit. as I told you about the hemispheres. But let me tell you, dyslexia comes along with gifts. In fact, when you see a child who is struggling academically without a gift, that is not dyslexia, because there is a brain compensation. When it is weak here, that energy goes somewhere else. Majority of the kids we see with the dyslexia are talented in music, art, athletics, computers or ICT, science, engineering, and architecture. Look at those friends of ours when they are writing reports. It's a nightmare producing a report. You may be a professional, but you know what you go through to produce a readable report. Facts about dyslexia. 1, prevalence. Dyslexia is very common. Countries give prevalences differently, but the range is between 10 and 20% of the normal population. The most recent research I have from the National Institutes of Health, United States, gives it between 17 and 20% of the normal population. That is 1 in 5 people. And how many are they in 100? 20. This is the most prevalent condition ever been known. But majority, when you look at budgets of organizations, when you look at facilities, they give more to the deaf, to the blind, and others. So important. 3 more minutes. Let me run faster. You know, it's the problem knowing much and knowing little. Okay. I'm almost throwing the papers and explain it myself. Dyslexia affects just as many boys as girls. Although there are some studies that put that boys are more than the girls, that's not correct, but it is because boys are more outward than the girls. Maybe something very important I have to point here is the comorbidity. It doesn't go alone. 40% of people with dyslexia also have ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. This is very prominent. Why? Most kids, when they fail to do numbers, they begin scratching. They are away. They switch off. They are not available for learning. The system keeps switching on and off. They can be physically present but mentally gone. You just call Peter as if he's coming from sleep. It is typical. So what we shall do, we have got, I will not go through the symptoms you see in preschoolers, symptoms you see in primary, and symptoms to see in adults. But let me tell you about the implications of dyslexia if it is not treated. 75% studies are being done in the United States. If you don't prioritize early identification, early screening, and wait, 75% of school dropouts in school is caused by dyslexia, the inability to cope with the schoolwork. 60% of inmates in prisons comprises people with dyslexia. So it is a bomb, a time bomb that we need to address as soon as yesterday. So as Rotarians, if we want to do crime, we should not reinforce police, we should reinforce schools, giving them more resources to manage these kids who are potentially criminals if you don't support them. So we need to make every effort if we want to make a decent country, this country of ours, Uganda, make sure that there is public information, there is a screening, all teachers are retooled. They are given skills. Today is a good model. I trust the team that is behind the panels and the sessions. You are going to see how this is done. But every school should have a teacher who has knowledge in screening. That is the first step. Then secondly, the education sector should prepare teachers on how to manage. Classrooms need to be adjusted because the key message here is multisensory learning, multisensory. These guys, because the auditory is weak, use another one. No wonder they are excellent in ICT. There is no family with dyslexia that does not have an attachment on ICT. Thirdly, we need to invest in assistive devices. A computer has relieved us a lot. We used to have lots of spelling issues. But today it will tell you this is wrong. You right click and you get the right word. So these government stakeholders, if you are to help a school, help them invest in technology. That will overturn things. There is a robot which is most recent on the market, which has been designed to help parents supervise homework with the children. You no longer need a teacher. You just need your robot. It attends the class. Back, when the child is back home, the child switches it on and it runs through the lessons of that day at your pace. You can choose the speed. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all here to call for action. We need to, first of all, invest in awareness. Let everybody know that there is dyslexia. People who are programmed differently, and nobody should be blamed for dyslexia because you don't have control if it is inherited. Some books will tell you there is developmental dyslexia, and there is also, my colleagues, my professionals, developmental and acquired. Acquired, I don't want to call it from an expert point of view. That one will give symptoms that are related to the developmental. There is one dyslexia. The second, when you suffer aphasia or they have a problem, you have had a stroke, language will be impacted and you will begin showing symptoms like that, those manifested by people with dyslexia, but it's not another type. Dyslexia is genetic. It runs in families. I want to thank you, colleagues, first of all, because you are here. I will be part of the interactions during the day, just in case, because we want to manage time and ensure that by the time you go back, you can impact the immediate community. The first is your husband or spouse, your children. If you belong to a church, you can organize. You can invite us, we give a talk to your church or mosque. Let us pass this information to everyone so that at the end of the day, no child is left behind. I want to thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Njuchi. Let's give him another round of applause. Anne, remember that job that you talked about that you're going to do? It's almost time to do it. But just before you do it, as you invite our chief guest to speak, I would love to also ask you to ask our chief guest that when she's talking to the rest of her people in the chief guest club to do and follow her example. Because most chief guests, they will come, make promises, and then you have to follow up on the promises after. This is the first chief guest in my entire life where before the occasion starts, they give you what they are going to promise you, then they come and sit as a chief guest. First time I'm seeing that. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll take this honor to once again invite Claire Wavomuno to in turn invite our chief guest of the day.
The guest of honor whispered to me, and she said, don't say all my achievements and what I have done. Just say that I like social inclusion, and I mean what I say. And so I will stick to that. And I believe it because she gave us her goodies beforehand. And she also promised to sit with us and then not only be the guest of honor, but make her opening remarks. And she also said that she will sit and first learn from the keynote speaker. And so we thank you, Dr. Eria Powell, to give us the gist of what it is. So I also want to thank her that for all the achievements she has had, she has found time. When I talked to her yesterday, the other day she was coming from Kenya. The plane was cancelled. She said, I'm coming all the same. She came here. She went straight to Fort Portal. While we were in Fort Portal, we said, will you come? Yes, I'll come. Will you at least just open the echo stove? I will come. I will also listen to what the keynote speaker has to say, because that's how I learn. And also, I will, from here, she's going to Nagalama. And from Nagalama, she's taking the plane. So that is the sort of person we have as our guest of honor, the district governor of Rotary, what? Number what? 9213, yeah. It just means that many clubs come together to form that district. Yeah. So she didn't want any frills. And so with that, we want to welcome District Governor Anne Nkutu for making the time, for being flexible, and for wanting to learn from the experts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. You should have warned me about what shoes I should wear. But I'll try my level best. Thank you for that kind introduction, brief and to the point. So to parents, I believe we have many parents here, our partners, teachers, guests. We have Rotarians like myself. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be here this morning to attend and be part of the second Dyslexia Awareness Day celebrations. And just as Claire said, like everybody else, we are learning so much. Dr. Njuchi mentioned that dyslexia is about difficulty with words. But just listening to you and to our MC, I was like, are you sure that's what dyslexia is? Because you certainly did not display any difficulty with words. But I suppose it also means that with support, anybody with a learning disability can improve to the point that you cannot really tell that they have a disability. And so I congratulate you and all the teachers and all the support and resources that you've had that have brought us to this point. So this morning we're here for dyslexia. But I really wanted to speak more about inclusion. As Claire said, that's something I do in my other life. I advocate for social inclusion, and that has included children with disabilities. Many years ago, I think it's more than 15 years ago, I was evaluating a program in Zanzibar, and it was on inclusive education. And at that time, most people thought that you could not have children with disabilities learning alongside what you'd call a typical children. And that you needed to have a special needs section and a separate section for the other kids. And so this project was trying to challenge that myth and show that you can actually have an inclusive class whereby you have children with different impairments learning alongside the other kids. And I was amazed by what I saw. In one of the classes that I went to, they had children with albinism who have issues with sight, and so they would have them sitting at the front. But they also had children with hearing impairments. And what that school had done was they had taught children how to sign. And so most of the kids in the classroom knew how to sign. And so the teacher would be standing at the front of the classroom teaching, and I noticed that there were kids who were signing for their peers. And that's how they were learning, you know. So the class went along, and these kids were, you know, were really doing all this sign language. It was amazing to see how that happened. And as if that wasn't enough, in the evening I was invited to go to the home of one of the boys with a hearing impairment. And 4 of his friends had visited, and the other 4 children could actually hear and speak normally. But when they visited their friend, I found them in a room, the 5 of them, laughing, and throughout the interaction, all 5 kids were signing. And I found that extremely amazing. It showed me that signing, was now just like another language. It was like the way people speak Chinese and you don't understand it. And now these kids were signing, and it was a language, and they were communicating with each other so effectively. For me, it was one of the most beautiful demonstrations of what inclusion can be. That inclusion doesn't just stop with kids with impairments, but that children without those impairments can also learn how to interact, go the extra mile and learn how to engage the other children, so that it's not always the other way around, that the ones with the disabilities are the ones trying to catch up, but the ones without disabilities are, supporting their peers. And I thought that was wonderful. And I think that is what today is about. But I also noticed that one of the most important things was awareness, because there's a lot of stigma around disabilities. There's a lot of lack of awareness. There's even lack of awareness about the impairments, but also lack of awareness of the existing resources that can support children with learning impairments. And so I thank the partners, I thank our hosts today, and everybody who has come together to try and increase awareness on the various conditions, but especially dyslexia, that many people do not know about. I also want to thank all the teachers here and all the parents who are coming together to be able to understand what resources exist and how those resources can be available to more children, not just in the urban centers, as often happens, but also in the rural communities. Because we also know that many times disabilities and poverty go together. And so you find that children with disabilities may come from poorer families. Because of lack of resources, they're even more unlikely to access resources. So I'm so glad that we have a diversity of people here who are going to ensure that this knowledge, the services, do not just end and stop here, but that they go out to more, so that all our children, wherever they are, may benefit. So I want to thank you all for putting this together. I want to thank my Rotarians who are here. As the MC said, our support has already been unveiled. The kind of support that we do as Rotary, basic education and literacy is one of our focus areas. And we support in so many ways, including improving the learning environment, as the Rotary Club of Ntinda Metro is doing. But we also support resources in terms of teacher training. Sometimes we bring expertise from other countries to our own local environment. So there's so many ways that we support. And I pledge on behalf of the Rotarians that we will continue to support this school, and that we will continue to promote and support inclusive education wherever we can. And so with those few words, I want to declare this Awareness Day and this forum open. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause once again.
Vincent, I think there are a few things I want to put out there. When she said that she wonders how well-spoken we are, well, you don't want to look into the book, because, that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens, when you see us writing and our spelling. Because recently I was doing something, and I was posting something on the group, and I was informed by my boss, and they're like, you know what, Angela, official communication is never yours to do, because of my spelling errors, and I've accepted. I know what I'm good at. You know, one thing about being dyslexic is that we may have problems with the book, but we are highly talented, and public speaking is my thing. Yes.
I think when I hear more and more from you, Angela, I keep thinking maybe I need to go back to school and tell my teachers maybe my problem was dyslexia. It's not that I had a bad handwriting. But anyways, we're going to a very exciting session that's going to be a whole lot more intimate. We're going to get into breakout sessions. There's some of us who are going to be headed to the classes.
Yes.
Yes, there's some of us who are going to be headed to the classes. There's some of us who are going to stay here. But even when we stay here, we're going to break down into groups.
Okay.
The first group is?
We have our parents. Parents, where are we? Let's raise our hands up.
A show of hands.
Yes, so parents, we're remaining where we are seated.
Interestingly, most of them are already on that side.
Yeah,
Someone
we
sent
were
a memo.
strategic, very strategic.
Awesome.
On the next, we have professionals. Where are we?
Show of hands, professionals.
Professionals. Okay. Professionals are also staying here behind. Teachers.
Show of hands, teachers. Those are going to break down into two groups.
Yes.
What two groups are those, Angela? So the teachers are going to break down into two groups. The two groups we have for the teachers will have one group that is going to focus on identification and diagnosis of dyslexia. These participants are going to remain here. Then we'll have a second group that is going to deal with strategies in the classroom to support dyslexic children. These participants are going to go to one of the classroom where there will be a workshop. Who are they following to the classroom?
So before we go to that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to inform you that the Commissioner for Special Needs Education or Inclusive Education is here, who is Mr. Sanya. Everybody, let's give him a round of applause. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for honoring the invitation, Mr. Sanya. Okay, so let's get into this. Backup Uganda. Yep. Follow your group. Chaninga and Ambrosili, where we? So those who are interested in identification and diagnosis, how to identify these learners in the classroom as teachers, we are remaining here. Those who are interested in the strategies on how to teach these learners in the classroom, we are going with Chaninga. Chaninga, where are we? Ambrosili, where are we? Yes, so we are staying here. And then Hill Preparatory School, Naguru, is in charge of the professionals. So we are staying here. Okay. So right now we are going to go into our group breakout sessions for the next 40 minutes.
Slowly, once again, on who is leading which group. Who's leading the parents?
I think let them come here so that people are able
so
to...
the person leading the parents is going over there.
All those people in charge of the breakout groups, please, 1 minute, chap, let's get here so that people know where they're staying.
I think the one group that's leaving is the teachers that are doing strategies in the classroom. Who are they following?
Chaninga.
Yes. So if the teachers who are following or who are doing the strategies to support children with dyslexia in the classroom, you will be following Chaninga. But just before we all leave, I want to say a special thanks to two people or two groups of people. One is Photogenics and the other is Little Cranes Montessori. When we came knocking for the furniture for this event, the tent, the chairs, and everything that is in charge of our comfort, these people answered our call and made it all available. So let's just give a hand clap to Photogenics and Little Cranes Montessori.
Yes, definitely. You know, this event is out of humanitarian cause. It was not payment fee. So it is out of the goodwill of different people, including Opportunity Bank, Centenary Bank, Humanity and Inclusion, together with our various partners, that this day has been or has been a success.
Oh, yes.
I must say. Okay.
All right, so there's 4 breakout sessions. For the teachers, I think you will have a chance to choose which way you want to go.
Okay. So the teachers who are interested in identification, we're on this side. Okay? Identification and, yes, this side. Teachers who are interested in strategies, I think we can start going together with...
stand up and follow
Anne. Jen, sorry, Jen.
As following the lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go, we also still have Mr. Sanya was representing her, but we have the commissioner herself in all her representation here. How much of a blessing. Let's welcome Sarah Ayesiga, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Sarah. Mrs. Sarah? Sorry, I'm not so good with names.
I also just want, I'm doing work which I'm not supposed to do, but the reason why I want to give her a special welcome, even though she's a commissioner, she's the one who invited us and challenged us to take on the second Dyslexia Awareness Day. She was the guest of honor before, and she challenged us to start, and we have managed. Thank you. And I think she's going to accept to be on the panel as well. Sorry about that.
All right, no, thank you. Thank you so much for clarifying that, Claire. And
Okay, so
you're very welcome.
Teachers
Madam
interested
Commissioner.
in identification, this side, Ambrosili. And then parents, I think we'll move to this side. Parents, let's move to this side. And then professionals, we're staying here.
All right.
Professionals, being that we're the smaller group,
We're going
we
to
are
take up the red
seated over
tables.
here. Professionals, we're seated over here. Parents, we are seated over here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. DJ, maybe you give us some tender music as we transition.
I hope you know where it is you're supposed to be. For the parents, we are going to do the white tables. Professionals, we move to the
Say goodbye to Slack because chat's here and it's inside ClickUp. Everything you need in chat is here.
But the next session of our program is beginning. And as we do, we just want to recognize several people who have been very instrumental to putting all this together. We want to a very critical point has been brought to my attention. There are some of us who are looking for places of convenience, especially after this sumptuous break. We have places of convenience that are just up here. The ladies on this side, the gents on the lower side. And just as you slope down there, there is another set of places of convenience just down the stairs. You will be able to access them if you need any of the places of convenience, either right opposite the tent or just down the stairs from the tent. Want to recognize some of the people who have made this possible. We have the organizers in Squami. Let's give them a round of applause, Squami. We have Backup Uganda. Please give them a round of applause too. We have Chaninga Child Development Center. We have Nodipo, National Union, sorry, it eludes me. I'll get you the full one. But yes, Nodipo, please, let's give them a round of applause. We have Center for Lifelong Learning, also one of the organizers. Please, let's give them a round of applause. And an overwhelming round of applause for our hosts, Hill Preparatory School. And there are those who have given of their resources, who have given of their cash to make this day come to pass. First, we want to thank Opportunity Bank. We want to thank Centenary Bank. We have Special Olympics, Photogenics and Little Cranes Montessori. And we have Humanity for Inclusion, also part of the funders for this event. Angela, we have other special groups of people.
Definitely. So with us, we have various groups of professionals. Let's have the doctors or the professionals put up their hands.
Doctors,
say
please
hello.
raise your hands.
Thank you very much for
Let's
coming.
celebrate them. Let's celebrate the doctors.
Yes, everybody who has come in the category of a professional, thank you very much for coming. We have our head teachers from different institutions. If you are a head teacher, kindly rise up and just wave to us. Head teachers
present, please rise up.
Head
Please
teachers,
rise up.
please rise up.
Yeah.
Rise up. Yes, thank you very much. We have teachers from different institutions. Teachers,
Our
wave to
special
us.
teachers.
Thank you very much, teachers, for showing us so much love and honoring our invitation. We also have parents, our lovely parents.
Our dear
Thank you very
parents.
much for coming.
Thank you so much for making the time.
Yes. And also this event has been graced by the presence of the Commissioner for Special Needs Education and Inclusion, Special Needs Education and Special Needs Education, Sarah Bogosi Chivoli.
Today we got
Thank
it
you
right.
very much
We
for
finally
coming.
got it right.
Yes.
All right, we have a team present here. What's happening, Angela?
What next is that work without play makes Jack a dull boy. So definitely we're going to have a moment of entertainment from Hill Preparatory School Choir. Together, we think, with the creative dancers, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So they're going to give us entertainment and we'll move on. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, Hill Preparatory School students. I think another round of applause for such a beautiful and marvelous presentation. Wow, that was beautiful. And you've seen that we don't just preach inclusion, we practice inclusion. Yes, thank you, children.
Let's give another round of applause for children.
You know, it's so hard to pull off a live band and at that have people entertained.
Yeah,
wow,
but
such
I think
a
that the
tremendous.
tougher thing is the dancing, especially for people who come from my clan. Because
Over
for
which
us,
clan is that?
if they told me to dance, either dance or mop the ocean, I'll just ask you, where is the rag? So yeah, I really celebrate people who actually can dance. Next, we have an exciting session after the break, the dance. There is more excitement that's coming up for us. I think one of the things that we are achieving today is a lot of awareness. There's going to be a lot of discussions about dyslexia from several fora. We've had the breakout sessions, we had the keynote speech, and now.
Yes, right about now, we are getting into our panel discussion.
Yes.
And welcome back from your sessions. Welcome back, welcome back. So I think Vincent will introduce to us our moderator, who will then introduce to us the panel members. But before we get into that, we have a testimony from a young man living with dyslexia. Escol, please.
Celebrate him as he comes up.
You know, it takes so much courage to come out and say you have dyslexia, but it takes more courage to actually share your story and struggle.
How are you? My name is Nkugwa Esco. I have dyslexia. At my former school, it was not a special needs school. So I had so much trouble reading, writing, and in exams. I used to get 0, 1, 0, 2, and sometimes 0. Then one time when the P7s were going to P6, the head teacher told my mother that I think your child has dyslexia. My mother said, "What is dyslexia?" Then the head teacher said, dyslexia is a disease which doesn't help the child to read or write. Then my mother said, "How do I get the cure for it?" They said that there are some people who help in dyslexia. My mother asked for the number of that person. Then my mother said that how will this help my child to read or write? It will help. The head teacher said it will help him in many ways. The child has answer. The head teacher said the child has answers in his brain, but he doesn't know how to write them or read them or just utter them out. And then my mother said, okay, I'll try it out. When I came to Hill Preparatory the first time, I did that test, and this time I got 90. And then my mother said, wow, how did you do this? I said, the teacher sat on my side as she had the paper, and she was the one writing the answers as I speak the answers. Then I said, maybe this school I like it. Now I notice there are a lot of children who need help. There are so many out there who couldn't go to school. Some of them are on the streets. Some of them are sleeping hungry with no food. For me, I am glad I have a mother and my father to take care of me and to love me. And I thank them.
What an emotional story. He almost got me tearing. Thank you very much, Eskol, for sharing your story. And don't stop sharing it. Okay? Yes, you can now go. A round of applause for Eskol.
Thank you so much. It's a very, very moving account. But when you talk about dyslexia, it's in a forest of other disabilities. And there's someone who has made their life purpose talking about disability. This is none other than the Program Officer for Inclusive Education at Nodipo. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Leah Diane Serra, the Program Officer for Inclusive Education at Nodipo, who will be our moderator for the panel this afternoon.
Is it already afternoon? Not yet.
If
Good
you round
morning,
off, it's
ladies and
afternoon.
gentlemen. Yeah, we don't take your presence here for granted. Thank you so much. This means a lot to us, the persons that promote inclusion of all persons, especially learners with learning difficulties. Thank you so much for being here, for taking time to be with us. At this moment, I'm going to invite the panelists to join us, to take their seats in the front. I'm from the National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, that is Nodipo. Our first panelist is Sean Paul. Sean Paul, please take your seat, sir. Sean Paul is a learner here at Hill Preparatory Inclusive School. The second panelist is Madame Esther Akwi from UNICEF. Madame Esther Akwi is an education specialist at UNICEF. Please take your seat, and thank you for giving us the time, for honoring our invitation. The commissioner, Madame Sarah Bugosi Chivoli, please take the front seat. The commissioner, okay, I know she will come. The other panelist is Mr. Mbaraka. Mr. Mbaraka is already here. Mr. Mbaraka works with KCCA, and he's in charge of inclusive education. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Mbaraka. Mr. Sanya. Mr. Sanya has stepped out but will join us shortly. Jeanette is our next panelist. You're very welcome, Jeanette from Chaninga. We have our parent, Mr. Jordan Sebuliba, our parent from Hill Preparatory Inclusive School. Mr. Sebuliba. Oh, you're very welcome, Mr. Sebuliba. Aggie is Angela is a teacher and a person living with dyslexia. Angela, please take your seat. I could have some helping hands to give us more seats so that Madame Angela, okay, there is a seat for Madame Angela. You're very welcome. So ladies and gentlemen, applause our panelists for taking time to sit. I am not very comfortable if I am blocking the sign language interpreter. I would like her to have a very visible seat, maybe here. Thank you so much, panelists. I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Sean Paul to give us his experience as a learner living with dyslexia. How is life and the experience going through school? Please pass the microphone.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
My name is Atwela Sean Paul. I'm in Primary 7 at Hill Preparatory School. My experience having dyslexia, I usually have difficulties in especially exams, spellings, reading some words, and writing. But Hill Preparatory has encouraged us and showed us that we can get an opportunity to pass highly by helping us in exams, transcribing for us, and help us where we need support. And I advise other schools to copy what Hill Preparatory is trying to do so they can create a better learning environment for our nation, Uganda.
Thank you very much, Sean Paul, for sharing that experience. Ladies and gentlemen, all learners can learn if given the support that they need to learn. Jean Paul needed support, especially with writing. He needed a transcriber to support him do his work. Thank you, Jean Paul, for sharing that. Mr. Sebuliba, our parent, you're very welcome. What is your experience as a parent of a child living with dyslexia? And how did you find out that your child lives with dyslexia?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First, I would like to give some background. I was not, of course, born with a child who had dyslexia. As you will all appreciate, it is something you discover as a child grows up. For us, it only presented itself. We only became aware that what our child was dealing with as dyslexia about maybe 6 months back. Before that, this was basically a child who was struggling in school. Now, he was not always struggling in school. There had been very good grades, science, SST, and whatnot. In the last 2 years, those grades began to fall. and there was no explanation for it. You speak to the teachers, all the teachers are telling you is, your child needs more tuitioning. So we did the standard tuitioning. You pay a teacher for extra work and whatnot, but that's not improving anything. We did the natural thing a parent who's involved does, brought out the stick. And even that was not improving things. If anything, it was making things worse. So I had an irritated child. I was an irritated parent. Teachers who like the child, who are not being very helpful. There's no improvement. And in the school the child was in, we got the sense that the teachers were overburdened, full classes and whatever, didn't have time for this one individual. So over the space of, you could say from about P4, the child right now is in P6, from about primary 4, we began to see a complete dive across the board. Now it started with simple things, mathematics. Oh, my kid is not good at maths, let's try something. And then that spread to science and SST, his strong subjects. We tried that for a bit, and then before I knew it, the child can't do normal English things. The real alarm bells started to ring when in one exam, the very final exam, our child got, I think it was 12% in English. Now he speaks well, he does all the normal things, but 12%, you just could not explain that. I'm sitting down with him on one of those holiday evenings, and I've tried everything. I've got my stick, my sando is seated there on the table. I tell him, if you try to do something wrong, yes, this is what's going to greet you. Yeah. So I've threatened, I have used a carrot, I have used everything. So I decide, let me step away, maybe let me go to the bathroom. I've left him doing his homework. I've explained things, I know he's understood them. I leave for about 5 minutes. When I come back, this is a child, mark you, who absolutely at this point fears me. Yes? Well behaved, he does not shout, does not whatever you tell him to do this, he will do it. He fears me. And he has got his biro and he has scribbled in his homework book and done, he's scribbled in his homework book. And I look at the book and I don't know, what is this? He clearly knows what's going to happen. But I'm a little puzzled. For me, it looks like a cry for help. So I sit my wife down. We begin to look for help. We end up, after a number of discussions with different parents, we end up at Dr. Njuchi's. Of course, skeptical. I'm thinking, it must be something. This guy is just lazy. Dr. Njuchi does his assessments and whatnot, gives us a report, and then it suddenly begins to dawn on us that actually the academics, the writing, the reading, are just one aspect of what we were dealing with. Prior to that, my son was having trouble with his shoelaces. Now he's 11 years. Okay, I had trouble with shoelaces, but not at 11. So he's constantly asking, please help me, please help me. So you do the shoelaces. And then you turn around and then his shirt is inside out. Tomorrow he'll have his buttons for his pants the other way. You're thinking, can't you pay attention? Can't you? Anyway, so we're struggling with these things that his other younger siblings are not dealing with. Yeah. And we then have an academics that is also backfiring. Had it not been for Njuchi, at that time myself, I was really afraid for our boy, because you're thinking, we're in P6. Next year is he's a finalist. Is he going to do P7? The secondary school, suddenly the secondary school that I always had in my head, you know, he's going to go to this particular school. It goes up in smoke. Yeah, you're thinking, now what are the options? It helped that we had, at that time, that key time, had a number of people that we were speaking to who pointed us here. We came, we visited with him. He sat down with one of the teachers and did an exam. At that time, we already knew that dyslexic. But it didn't present itself just as dyslexia. It was dyslexia and ADHD. So you have a person who just can't sit down. Yeah, you've almost got to tie him to the seat. There's always an excuse. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to do this. This is itching me. This is, yeah. So we sit down here. I in fact warned the teachers, he's going to come up with an excuse not to do this. He's going to just be patient with him. They know these type of students. They were very patient. They sat down, they assessed him, and then they brought marks that just begged belief. I could not believe that my son, who was previously the term before scoring 12% in English, 7% in mathematics, is now the one who has 70%, 60%, 80%. And for a moment, I looked at the teachers suspiciously. I'm thinking, no, it can't be a turnaround like this. There's something wrong. Have you done the exam for the child? Have you whatever? They explain. They say, look. Actually, it was Dr. Njuchi. I'm absolutely grateful for the insights that he gave. They did this one test, and my boy can read. He articulates himself. If he stood here, you wouldn't know. Yes. Now, your standard person copying from the blackboard to a book, yeah, is quite fast. Now, our boy could read, could understand, but where your average student, in this particular example, would maybe write, in copying and pasting, would maybe write 100 words, yeah, given maybe 5 minutes copy and paste, our boy could only manage 16 words. Please understand, 16 words. And he's trying, he's copying, he's pasting, copying and pasting. Now, in the previous school, of course, teachers didn't know this. They're writing the work, and they wait for the average student to write. They rub off, yes. They write more, yes. Our boy could not keep up with that. So over a year, about a year and a half, his handwriting went downhill because he must catch up. He must at least do something. And then when he's home, you're telling him, no, you have the work in your book. Read it, revise it. He can't read his work, but he doesn't have the work. Yes? So in the exams, he can't keep up. He's very competitive. He's the type of person who wants to say, I was the first person to finish the exam. I was the first person to walk out of the class when my colleagues were still in that exam. Yes? So his handwriting matches that speed. Yes? But he also didn't have an appreciation for the implications of, terrible handwriting, this, that, the other. So you're dealing with a dyslexic kid, you're dealing with a kid that has ADHD, and a kid that is eager to please. I was the first, I was this, I was that. Everything is competitive. In the school here, I spoke to his teachers inside the first month, and the teachers were very keen on saying, look, not only do we give him the time to copy and to copy the work, yes, but we follow through. We've also engaged him in sports, in other sports and whatnot. And yes, please, parent, could you sign this? Could you give him permission to be part of this club and the other club? And suddenly, I'm seeing his friends, his colleagues in the class, and the teachers celebrating him. He's very good at this, he's very good at that. And after a while of hearing himself that he was good at this, he was good at that, it then slowly began to translate in his academics. Yes? And it came as a shock to me, the second term exams, where he generally averaged, I think his worst score was 67. He had, I think, close to a 90, an 80, another 70, and I think 67. And suddenly you're saying the results now reflect what he has in the head. Because when you ask him, the answers are there, but the results are not there. So I am a parent right now who's living with a child who's dyslexic, ADHD, who still presents all these things. I'm also a parent who now believes that my child has a chance, yes, to make something of himself in this world, in this life.
Thank you, Mr. Sevliva. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow, wow. Mr. Sevliva owns his child. At one point, it's my child. Then he remembers there is a mother. It's our child. Yes. And then you see the effort he put in to ensure that the child gets reasonable accommodation. He walked us the journey of where you get the anger, of where you do not know what to do with the child that is declining. Thank you so much, Mr. Sevliva. I know your story has touched someone. I had so many questions for you, but in the process, you did answer them. Thank you so much for that. Parents, if you have any questions, please note them down. After the panelists have spoken, you will have a chance to ask questions. Please note your questions down. The next question goes to Madame Jane from Chaninga. Janet, Brandy. We want to know, how do you recognize that you have a student in your class with dyslexia, and how would you change your approach of teaching or supporting this learner?
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me here today. I feel very privileged, actually, to be in Claire's school and to meet everybody. So the question was, how do you know if you've got a child with dyslexia in your class? So I asked the group earlier, in nursery, you have a lot of play activities, and you start teaching phonics. And then the general process is that then you move from phonics through to blending and beginning to spell and read and write. Now, most children can do that pretty easily, and you will find that in all your classrooms. So it's actually not hard to spot those early signs. I think you have described them really, really well. They will struggle with reading and writing in the early days. Your son obviously did very well to learn to read early on, but maybe, as you said, his speed took time to get. The spelling, he would have struggled with spelling. So about P1, 2, as a teacher, you are beginning to see that the child is falling behind. And this is really, really important to notice this, because that's where the child who wants to be the same as everybody else starts to feel that they are the failure. There's something wrong with them. But remember, these children, as we have said, are typical learners, but they have difficulty with certain aspects. And if you're not careful, their self-esteem and their confidence, it starts affecting, obviously, the academics, but then it also starts affecting whether they want to go and play football with the other children outside. because they think, oh, I'm not being liked. It starts affecting, they get teased maybe, because as you said, sometimes they don't put their shorts on the right way round, or they take too long, and we're not having him in our team because he takes too long. And immediately you start building. So if you feel that that's beginning to happen around sort of generally 7, 8, you can start asking yourself questions. You can say, has this child possibly got dyslexia? Of course, it might be, and we touched on this in the group over there, it might be the learning strategies that you're using. And I can hear that in this school, you are using a variety of different strategies. We all have different learning styles. Some of us are very, very good at copying and writing and then remembering. Other people need to have visual reminders. Other people need lists. Other people need to play games to make it more fun so it goes into their long-term memory. So I think I've answered the question. I'm conscious I don't want to take up any more time, but please, if you've got another question around that, write it down and we can talk later.
Thank you so much, Janet. Teacher Angela, are there any intentionally recognized best practices that have been proven for supporting learners with dyslexia? Are there any intentionally recognized best practices that have been proven to support learners with dyslexia?
Oh, yes, there are quite a number. For example, at UNEB, once you register your child or a particular learner as under the special needs, one, they are given transcribers, right? Who, in short, a transcriber is a person who translates spoken word into script and from script back to spoken. So the teacher will sit with the child, read the question, and give the child the chance to respond back to the question. And once they have given the response, the teacher writes it down. So you have solved the issue of time, right? Spending a lot of time comprehending, taking the time to comprehend. It's easier when you listen and put it down, right? So that is one practice that is being done in various schools and also done by the UNEB. Also, making lessons practical or using the multisensory approach of teaching, whereby you don't just teach and dictate notes on the blackboard and write and feel the blackboard rub next. You know, it's not all about finishing the syllabus on time, but making class learning as practical as possible. I want to thank the teachers who have showed us a sneaky peek. I mean, they have literally given us what they use in the classroom, how they make learning as practical as much as they can, you know, making them actually do it. If it's the heart, I'm good at art. I'm not good at writing or reading. So make for me the heart, you get? When I make that heart, I'm going to memorize it. So making learning multisensory as much as possible. Yes.
Thank you so much. I will go to the Commissioner, Madam Sarah Bogosi Chibori. What are the greatest policy needs? What's the government doing in terms of addressing dyslexia in schools? What is the government doing in terms of addressing dyslexia in schools?
Okay, thank you so much, moderator, ladies and gentlemen. There are quite a number of areas that government is touching in relation to addressing issues of learners with dyslexia. And when we talk about government, government is generally the top body that works with very many other bodies down there to see that different issues are addressed. And at that higher government level, we are not only looking at issues of dyslexia, but generally we are looking at issues of special needs. And in specific, we're also looking at disabilities. Now, one, government has ensured that teachers are trained in special needs to go to schools, to go and support learners with dyslexia and other disabilities in schools. Like the teacher has spoken, those teachers who are in schools and doing a number of things, they are doing it because they have been trained to support these learners, and government is behind this. We have Chambogo University doing a lot of work, and other universities in Uganda, and I know some even of our students have got scholarships and have gone out to do different courses in disability studies and have come back to support. The other one that we are doing, we have quite a number of partners, and I want to say Hill Preparatory is one of our partners, Chaninga is one of the partners, because without government's support, without government allowing them to be here to do the work they are doing, then they wouldn't have done it. So government has allowed quite a number of partners to come in this country, and even individuals, because we also have the private partnerships. Even because Hill Preparatory is more of a private partnership to see that our learners or our children with dyslexia access the right schools and find there the right teachers to do the work they are supposed to do. Because as much as they have come in, but still government has a hand in terms of regulation. We do regulate what is happening in those institutions. We do regulate what the partners are doing in this country. The teacher mentioned about UNEP. UNEP is part of one of the government agencies, and I don't want to go into that because the teacher has already explained what UNEP does. However, the only challenge we have here is that many of these learners are in many of these schools but have not been identified. And because of that, many of them are dropping out of school, many of them are not completing. We think they are stupid, we think of so many other things, but it's only that we have not done it. But I want to tell you today that from the celebration we had last year at the Lifelong Learning Center of Dr. Njuchi, and today we are here, this is a milestone in making our country aware of the dyslexia. Because for them to be aware, it's not a one-person show. We shouldn't all focus at government doing this. But we are looking at all of us. I know those of us who are here today are not going back the way we came. Even as we speak here, some of us are even reflecting and saying, maybe even in my home, child A, B could also be having a similar problem. So this is awareness creation, and this is going to go on and on. And like we're even discussing here with my colleague from UNICEF, I know she's also coming up to speak, we have said, I think, this gives us also an opportunity to take it to our colleagues at the Ministry of Education. And even among them, the commissioners, the directors, the other workers could also be struggling with similar challenges, but it's only that they do not know. So from this, we would also want to see how we take it up with the ministry, and particularly in the area of dyslexia. Because for us, we are dealing with all disabilities. But this time round, can we put particular focus on dyslexia to create more awareness among the ministry staff, among the policy makers, among the policy implementers? Because, like from what the parents said, I believe there are very many children who are struggling in our basic primary schools. But because we do not know, and as you have been aware, we have been getting, WESO has been doing quite a number of studies in the classes of P4 and P4 and P6, P3 and P6. And most of the studies have showed our children in this country have failed to pick up in numeracy and literacy. Who knows? This could be part of the problem. So want to take it up and see at what level can we take it? Can we do it? Then lastly, among the things that we do is provision of a number of educational materials to our schools, so that, because materials of learners with disabilities are quite very expensive. They are very, very expensive, and very few schools can afford that. So as ministry, we do provide quite a number of materials to schools, but we cannot cover all the schools in the country. But at least we do provide to a reasonable number. And like I said, we also have partners, we have friends, we have UNICEF here, we have Chaninga. They're also doing a lot in terms of supporting schools with the different educational materials. Let me stop here for now.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you notice that our good government has given us an enabling environment to include learners with disabilities in mainstream schools, but also include learners with learning difficulties that are not visible at first sight in the mainstream schools, and give them the reasonable accommodation that they require to go through the education system. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Madam Esther Akwi from UNICEF. What are the greatest policy needs that need to be addressed in Uganda, and how is UNICEF ensuring that dyslexia is getting the policy recognition it needs?
Thank you very much, moderator, and like any other panelist, I'm glad and humbled to be one of the panelists this afternoon. And like we've said, I'm called Akwi Esther, and I'm an education officer, but also a teacher by profession. That is very key. So in terms of policy, the commissioner here, with most of us here, are aware that we have a draft policy in place that is intended to ensure that we do recognize and provide clear guidance in terms of how do we handle what are the needs of the children, especially those with dyslexia. And we as UNICEF has been very pivotal in the development process, consultation that moved across 6 regions, and also ensuring that we're supporting the ministry to go through the approval process, which we hope and pray that in the nearby future we'll see it out, and we'll see this as a document that we all will be using as a basis to address the needs of children with dyslexia. The other thing I would like to say is that we know the issue of data is very critical, because we say all this, but if you do not have data, awareness is one thing, and if the data speaks for it. Because once we all know, including government, that these children, we have them, and these are the numbers, and this is where they are. So as UNICEF, as we talk, we are also supporting a national difficulty functional survey that most of us use, because it does pull out, it does bring details of each of the categories of children with disabilities, including dyslexia, because that's the only way you can know how many are there in the country. And we are supporting UBOS to be able to do that study. And I know that will help us with the numbers. The last one was done in 2017, but we know that's a long time ago. The children are there, and we need to capture the data. In the current sense, as I saw the report was published, we don't have the statistics there. And that's what government uses for planning. But we are going to use this as a basis for us to be able to know where are the children, who are there, and what are the numbers, and to support government to be able to plan for them, but also to be able to design interventions for this particular category of children. So I think that is for us very pivotal. But of course, apart from that, we also sit in different forums, including the development partners groups. And we do engage each time to make sure that inclusion of children with disabilities, including dyslexia, is included in every forum, but also every strategic document that is being developed. Recently, we're developing the National Development Plan 4, and you can be sure that areas of disability, including dyslexia, because we always encourage that we should pull out the different forms, because if you do not do that, then you can't plan for them. So we, in those platforms that we are privileged to attend, to make sure that they are disaggregated, and also when data is being collected, it's disaggregated. We did also support the Ministry of Education to develop the current education sector plan that is running, and we did ensure, working together, of course, with the ministry, that areas around disability inclusion, of course, including dyslexia, are being included there, and it is highlighted and outlined. That is the only way we can see it being attended to very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Esther. We understand inclusion cannot be achieved as a standalone. We need change in systems, and then we need to support this individual learner achieve. Thank you so much. Please continue. We need those policies in place, and then later we need the guidelines. Mr. Mbaraka, I looked at the teacher's draft bill, and I saw it is a very beautiful document which will allow inclusion of all learners, because we are going to receive this holistic teacher with all the qualities that support learners of different abilities in schools. What is KCCA doing to ensure that the right teachers are in the right schools to support the learners within those schools? Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, a good morning. Good afternoon. Yes. This is Idi Mubarak. I'm the Inclusive Education Officer, KCCA. What is it that we are doing to ensure that the right teachers are in the right schools to support all learners? I think that is the question. Yes. As part of government, KCCA has got government grant-aided schools. These schools have got teachers paid by government, and we make sure that the recruitment brings only those who are fully trained and qualified and registered with the Ministry of Education and Sports. In the training, these teachers go through a number of things, but at the basic level of a grade 3, previously we did not have the component of special needs. Later it was brought on board, though there were a bit of challenges here and there, but they were, at least there is some bit of sensitization, and the teacher will come with some kind of knowledge, though not fully well equipped. Now, as KCCA, we normally organize capacity building sessions with support from various partners. So we train our teachers, not only those from special schools, but teachers from all the 79 government grant-aided schools. We train them in various aspects of inclusive education. Previously, some years back, we've been having a number of partners. Crane Services, Crane, that is Children at Risk Action Network. We had Cheshire Services Uganda. Now we have Mukisa Foundation. We have so many other partners. So we've been training these teachers, and we are continuing to train. In fact, as I talk now, we have some other trainings coming. One will be supported by UNHCR. And then there's another one which is being organized by Mukisa Foundation and so many others. So our role is to train, because we know and believe that we have learners with special needs at least in every school. They are there. Sometimes you go to school and they tell you, no, for us here we don't have them. Yes, you don't have them because we have failed to identify them. But I believe they are there. Because like research tells us that in every 10 learners, at least there is, well, not only learners, but people, at least there is one with dyslexia. And in Uganda, they say in every 5, at least there is a person with dyslexia. So they are there. You can't tell me you have a population of 700 and you don't have anybody with a special need. You don't have anybody with dyslexia. These children are there and they are struggling.
Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Thank you for that response. It is very important that we know that our teachers have capacity, continuous capacity building to support every learner in all schools. Thank you so much. Janet, this goes to you. What is the detriment to society if we neglect the needs of learners or children with dyslexia?
Well,
yes.
Well, that is a really interesting question. What is the detriment to society? Well, we know through lots of examples of people, starting with Albert Einstein, more recently Richard Branson, who else can I think of off the top of my head? I think it's on the leaflet actually. There are very, very well-known, Leonardo da Vinci, an amazing artist in the past. Leonardo da Vinci painted a helicopter before anyone had ever thought of flying. So people with dyslexia, and he has dyslexia or had dyslexia, they're often people who, I say, and maybe someone else can come up with another saying, think outside the box. They're the creative thinkers of the future. They don't always conform, and sometimes that's what makes these children difficult to teach, because their brains are often working like 3 or 4 times faster than ours because they've seen the solution. They haven't written it down, they haven't sat an exam, but they know the answer before everybody else. They're often hugely critical thinkers as well. So detriment to society is if we don't identify these children early and help them through the system of education to enable them to move forward into society, we are losing some of our best thinkers, our best creators.
Thank you so much. Did you hear that? I think you didn't hear what she said, because if you heard, you would clap harder. It is important that we support our learners so that we do not lose people with potential by killing them from our homes, from our schools, and from our society. After hearing that, I would like to hear from Mr. Sebuliba. What are your recommendations for helping other parents that have children with dyslexia?
Just listening to Jeanette, it got me thinking about the school. What would I recommend? I think from my own personal experience, I mean, we could almost afford to change schools with our child, take them to A, B, C, D. The problem we had, I think, overall, was there wasn't any information. I don't think leaflets are enough. There needs to be an actual countrywide policy that prevents schools from not being inclusive. if you have all schools operate in an inclusive manner, I don't mean just physically disabled children being part of the school community. You need more schools that are very much like Hill Preparatory. There would never have been a need for us to almost reinvent the wheel, yes, for something that is a very common and very easily identifiable thing. 1 in 5 children tells you, that statistic tells you that it is more common, almost as common as the flu. So for us to have gone to this school and the other school and none of the teachers being properly aware that this might be one of the things we're dealing with was a disadvantage, not just to us, but to the other parents and the other learners that might be struggling in a similar manner. So if there are more schools that are, not more schools, if all schools are required to be more inclusive, this would definitely change society. Now, the other flip side of it is you then have parents who have no more children, yes, having to deal with and accept that children that are dealing with these learning difficulties are part of society. You also have employers, fairly now educated, if they are aware that just as many people are going to come in with these many challenges, putting in place schemes, taking on these students or these people in their adulthood, knowing full well that the society makeup has these people as part of them. If we continue to pretend that children with learning difficulties are someone else's problem, yes, then you will always have parents such as myself and others who don't know what to do. We're screaming, we're looking for help, it's just not there. And government is available to do these things, but I don't think we are there yet in making it a countrywide policy. So if we could change that, I suspect that would greatly improve things.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sebuliba. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to our panelists. I would have loved to talk to them for the entire day, given the expertise, the experience they've gone through, but time is not our best ally. I will give us a few chances to ask questions, but be very precise. Yes. Yes, ma'am in red. Yes, this side. Okay. Can I get some helping hands to move the microphones? First, the other side.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Akao Stella, a teacher of special needs. I teach at Chambugo College School. It is an inclusive school. And I salute my senior lecturer, Dr. Njukchi. Actually, he taught me in 2010, 2013. I'm so grateful to see you here and you're still serving our nation. My question goes to Madam Sarah, the commissioner, and I think Mr. Idi Mubarak. I have an issue here. Some of us, we have been trained as special needs teachers, but since then, we have not got the chance to join payroll. I don't know how best we can go through about it. I personally have worked for 7 years for this school, but I've been struggling to see that I enter payroll, but I failed. How can we really go through? Because when they're advertising, you only see subjects, but there is nothing indicating that special needs teachers. So how best can we really join payroll? Otherwise, we are serving there and we are being exploited and people are not recognizing our work. So that is my main concern. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Another question is on this side of the room. Okay, we shall take the 4 questions and give 5. We shall stop at 5. The lady behind you. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Sela Alumansi, a parent with not one child with dyslexia, but of different levels. Each is different. My question is to the commissioner. Our Ugandan academic educational system is academic oriented, results, where you find that in our schools, a child who is not performing well is made to repeat. They will not promote that child to the next class. And we the parents, sometimes we don't know. I have a story which I will not share now, how I discovered my children were dyslexic. But it's very saddening because the teachers tell you your child is stupid. And it can't be promoted. How some of us fell on lifelong Center for Lifelong and how we came to heal. It was a hard, painful story. I wish no other parent should go through that. So what is the ministry doing that as parents, we can access assessment at early stage for our children? We know where we can take our children for assessment. Those of us who are in Kampala, we may hear about Hill Preparatory or CEL, but there are many other parents who do not know where to go. This should be made, my proposal to the ministry, it should be made something which is available, just like immunization is available. This is a cry for us parents. It should be available for us so that our children from primary can know and they are not traumatized. We've traumatized our children, our teachers have traumatized our children, not because we don't love them, but because we are ignorant. Please help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your question. Okay, but I had, okay, it's okay, since she has the microphone. We have 2 hands the other side, then from the Hajat, there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also have a child with dyslexia here, but my question is to the lady in pink. I've forgotten her name, but I'll call her the lady in pink.
Okay.
You find that when you go to these normal traditional schools, they tell you that your child is stupid. They tell you that your child has no future. So my question is to her, how are our children who have no future going to make it in future?
Thank you very much for that question. There is a Hajat right there, that side. And then we shall go to the 2 hands that were here and there, the one with the glasses, yes. Thank you so much for that question. Panelists, please note the questions.
Sorry, thank you very much. My name is Farida Bagalaliwo, and I'm an educator. I have an early childhood center, and I'm kind of new to it. But along the way, I appreciate everybody on the panel, and I know how tough it is because we've dealt with a child too with dyslexia in our early childhood center. And of course, we cannot diagnose because it's a medical diagnosis. But as Jeanette said, you see the symptoms as you teach phonics, as you do spelling. So you begin to be aware that there's a lot of frustration. And one child we had, actually, I was not aware, but the mother was aware. She was a British mother, and so she recognized that her child had dyslexia before I did. And so but we've kept working together to understand it better. So when we had the next child, then I was more aware because of that other parent's awareness. So it's really important to share information. And so that comes to my point. Sean, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know how frustrating it is when people don't understand what you're going through. And same to the parents who shared. But we have commissioners here from education. We have UNICEF. We have KCCA. I've just been to the Ministry of Education website. There is nothing about special needs. There is actually nothing really about learning on the website. And so the only thing I can see is a KCCA library. So I challenge you. We live in the digital age. You're constantly talking about the digital age. We're in 2024. Please look at some other countries, look at some other cities, and see how they're talking about learning on their websites. You travel, please, we beg you. Parents want information. A mother has talked about her pain and frustration, and the frustration of children. The little girl we had would come and cling to you and cry because she wasn't able to spell the way her peers do. Those things are traumatizing, they matter. And it's not complicated to create a website with information. No matter how many trainings you do, you're not going to reach every area of Uganda. But people have phones now. We're constantly talking about development and phones, development and mobile money. Make it development related to, make the phones related to education. Please, create information on your websites. That is not complicated. We should be able to look up and see, I have a child, I think they have a special needs. What are the special needs issues on KCCA's website? What are the special needs issues on Ministry of Education's website? For goodness sake, please, help us.
Thank you, Hajat. Yes, sorry, I do not know your names, but I'll describe you. The lady first, then the gentleman behind her. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Brenda Okelo, and I'm from the King's Learning Christian Academy. Our kind of education is totally different from the other education. We do accelerated learning, where children do pacework. A child is self-taught, and we do the supervision. So how do I approach a person? My main question is, how do I approach a parent and tell the parent that your child could be dyslexia, could be having dyslexia, Then how do I also tell that a child has it apart from probably the reading and the writing? Could there be other forms or other signs that show that a child has the symptoms? Then this comes from my experience. As a child, I had an experience with a teacher. She traumatized me. Just because she didn't like me, I had to walk around the whole class naked. Yes. So it kind of traumatized me a lot to an extent where I couldn't grasp anything she taught again. Okay? So I asked, could trauma, fear, and other past incidences of a child also cause? Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's an open question. Since it's open, let me assign it to Dr. Njuchi, who is not on the panel, to support us with that one. Please, Doctor, take note. Yes, the gentleman before. Yes.
The protocol observed. My name is Okring Solomon from Frobel Primary School, Bukoto. My humble appeal and prayer goes to the body here today, representing the government and any other agency here. I ask everybody and parents who are hearing here, representing many of them, these children are very many. And the challenge goes to the teacher. Most especially, I want to cite it out. This is very challenging and disturbing. Sometimes after identifying these children, to tell that parent that your child has this issue, this disability, it is something very difficult. Because that parent, according to the culture, may not take it easy for you. Says, my child cannot read, and what is it? Is like any other what? Child. Why are you saying so? It is something difficult. So I ask, maybe this kind of awareness workshops should be put many. And the KCC representatives here, please put as many as possible. And my sister here aired it out. Such people who are to diagonalize are not there. In many schools, if we may count like here in KC Kampala, we may even find those in payroll, maybe 2. Now, who are those going to diagonalize this? And give us the information and counsel the parent, most especially, even us who are here. If I cited you and say, your child is a victim, it is another story. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I see more quick hands up. I promise that the panel is going to respond briefly to the first questions. Then we shall have a last round of questions, and you will be selected to speak. I have noted. Okay, let's start with the commissioner, please. You're responding to the employment and then curriculum questions.
Okay.
And the website information.
Okay, thank you so much for the many questions that have been raised. And if I begin from the first one of the employment, let me take it up and find out from the human resource why certain subjects have never been advertised for filling, because I know the staff are required. But I also want to advise you that could be one other thing you could have also done is, because if the school feels you are required, what has the head teacher done to forward you specifically for that special I don't know, whatever it is, okay, special service to the school. Maybe we can talk also later after here to see, because I know Education Service Commission also does a one-to-one taking on recruitment of teachers where they are required. So even your school head teacher hasn't also done enough. But here he keeps on using you and not supporting you, helping you to be able to join the payroll. The other one is about the parent who spoke. Indeed, you have really spoken very serious words, but I'm happy that the news people are here. You know, sometimes the news people pick a lot of things and forget the major things. Like what she has spoken is very, very important. How I wish it goes to the media, for people to know that there are people out there who are really suffering, who have walked left and right with no solutions, and by the time they get a solution, it's very late. But I want to respond as this. Yes, as a country or as government, we may not be doing it directly, the early assessment. But I know we have partners like Squammy and others who are doing it. I'm still speaking. Give me a little more time, please. Now, Ministry of Education and Sports initially had the assessment resource centers. These were placed in the 45 districts of Uganda. That time when we still had the 45 districts. And this was supported by Danida. Many of you who are of my age and those who are a little older than me remember the yellow cars that were in this country. The purpose of those yellow cars was to do early assessment, early identification, and assessment of learners with disabilities. And that meant learners were also assessed before they could access school. But along the way, when Danida phased out, it's like also the program phased out. But are we going to manage at this rate? Why don't we listen to one another? When Danida phased out, it didn't go with the children. The children remained with us. But as of now, with the support from CREN, we have been having a running center at Nachivuvo Primary School, that is Nachivuvo Blue, where Dr. Njuchi has been leading this, and Julie of CREN, I saw Julie around. We had all the multidisciplinary team, the psychologists, mention all those ones. They have been in that place. But unfortunately, the program closed. So we have been asking our friends of KCCA, what are they going to do to see that this center moves forward? And when this center was operational, it was receiving referrals from even Mulago Referral Hospital. Mulago, which is supposed to be a referral, was also referring children to Nachivubo Blue to be assessed, and then they would give the recommendations. So as Ministry of Education and Sports, we are working round the clock, and I want to say in the budget of 2025, 2026, no, 24-25, we've been given some little money as a department to start on reviving and revamping these centers. And then also on the other hand, we're also working with Chambogo University, because Chambogo University also to some extent should have moved on to see how they could support these assessment centers to see the way forward. So as of now, we're also in talks with Chambogo University to see that we have a bigger, a national assessment center at Chambogo, and that assessment center should be linked to the district assessment centers, so that whichever learner enters school should have been assessed before, and that will help us in terms of placing these learners in the right places. And I know that parents' dilemma would have been solved. But this cannot be done overnight. We are in the process of seeing that this is done. The other one is about not having anything on the website. I'm taking up this to see that we share information with our communication information department, so that we can have as much information on the website about special needs. Because I know we have a lot, we have done a lot, we have information, but maybe because of protocol, because of many other things, the information is not yet there. But I take this one in good faith. We are going to ensure that we give this team as much information as possible for what we are doing in our department, for what we have done, what can benefit the public, so that it goes on our website. I think those were the questions.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, because of time, we have 8 minutes to go. I will ask the lady in pink, Madam Angela, to answer the future of the futureless children. What do we have for them?
Okay, I want to tell you there is a future, because Angela is seated in front of you, and Angela has dyslexia, and Angela is a bachelor's holder of special needs education. So I'll share my story. When I was in school, I remember primary 7, it was a math exam and I got 0. And so this teacher would cane for, if you know you got below 90, stand up. Do we know that practice? If you know you got below this, stand up. So imagine I got 2 strokes for, because I did not get, like, count from 90, 80, 60, 70, blah, 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 right? And then it was a triple lesson. And then they go to, if you know you failed number 1, do what? Stand up. So I was given, I think, over 100 strokes that day. And these teachers were, it was the math department, you cannot be failing, paneze. Sorry to use my local language, but the pano. You know, the mathematics teachers have come. So I was seriously beaten. And this teacher made a comment. And actually, that time my mother was picking me up from school and told my mom, why don't you take your daughter to go and do handcraft things? Because school has failed. Why are you wasting your school fees? I'll advise, the earlier you do it, the better. And my mom looked at me in the eyes and asked me, Angela, what do you want to be? I told her I want to be a doctor. And for sure, I'm going to be a doctor, right? Of books. That one I know, I'm just waiting for the funding. Yes, I have to put it out there.
Thank you, Angela.
And so, let me finish.
Okay.
And so, when I go to Form 6, I've struggled, right? I find out that I'm asked, what do I want to be? And I realize I want to be a teacher. Which kind of teacher? A teacher that makes a difference. I've seen many of my colleagues leave school because they have potential. One dropped off school because I got to realize later he has dyslexia. He's now a pastor. He failed to make it through school, but he was able to be a pastor. So, 1, focus on our strengths, not on our weaknesses. 2, believe in us. If my mom did not ask me that question, I would have believed what the teacher said. So believe in us. We can make it. Look at what are my strengths. Identify them. And one thing about us, as Daddy Miti said, sorry, I don't know his real name, I know him to be Daddy Miti, is that when you focus on our strengths, for example, in school, I was good at MDD. And if I was given the chance and opportunity to do MDD, there is a way it balances your academics. I don't know how, but there is magic in letting us do our giftings. And when every time I was supported to do that, I was told, okay, fine, you will do this, but in return, you give me these marks. And so I was so motivated to do my work, not because I loved reading, but because I was motivated with what I loved the most. So that's what I can tell you.
Thank
and also,
you.
To contribute to what she had asked, the story of trauma.
Yes.
Definitely, I believe trauma affects, because up to now, I hate math. I don't want to do even simple calculations of 1 + 1. If someone tasks me like, do quick math for me, I'm like, no. We were doing the budget and I just walked out of the room. I'm like, excuse me. So that's how much I hate math. So it's traumatizing. Yes, I'm sure it affects and can lead to dyslexia. Yes.
Thank you, Angela. Mr. Mbaraka has something to say, and then Doctor will respond to the other question. We'll also add something to the trauma. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. My addition is on the assessment. Yes, KCCA, we have the only assessment center in this country. Like Madam Commissioner said, it is located at Nachuvo Primary School. The truth is, it has not closed. It's only the project, the Crane project, that ended, because projects come and go. So the project is ended, and we had different specialists coming from different areas, and by then they were being facilitated by Crane. But now the challenge is, these are not teachers. Some are clinical psychologists, so they have different backgrounds. So we could not employ them in the educational thing. But they are still supporting us as volunteers, and we normally, sometimes we refer our children to some of the specialists. Sometimes some of them actually still come to the assessment center because of the passion that they have.
Thank you, Mr. Mbaraka.
I also personally participate in assessment.
Okay.
And recently I've been assessing candidates with special needs. I've assessed over 300 candidates who are going to sit for exams. So mummies and daddies out there, please always come, we are there. The only challenge is that I'm not there on a full-time basis in the center, because I have other responsibilities in the field, like a school inspection. I have to go and support the teachers where we send our children So
But
I normally
will-
give my
will they
number.
find someone at the center? Will they find it open and operational?
Yes,
if you're not there.
What I do, we do it on appointment.
Okay.
I give you my contact 0782. She says in Pola Pola 0782 81 7233. You call me, I give you an appointment. You actually tell me my child has these challenges, then I will know. I'll tell you, come on this date or go and meet so and so in this particular place. So we need to we are continuing to support our children. But also, if there are partners out there who are willing to support our specialists the way they used to be supported by Crane, please, you're most welcome. You come, we shall discuss, and then lastly is that we do not support only, or we do not assess only children from Kampala, from within Kampala. Because this is a national thing, it is for the entire country. So we support children from different places. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbaraka. I think the way forward is that we need assessment centers closer to the community. Thank you so much. Dr. Njuchi, kindly respond to the trauma question.
Yeah. Yeah, dear parents, I know it is traumatizing to be told your child is stupid or he cannot progress. I remember when I was in primary 2, I was told by a teacher that Paul tries, but he still fails. Agezaako newankubadde akyalemwa. Trying, and that's what they do when they're still young. You really see the effort, but still the answers don't come by. Somebody raised a question there. How? Because he's dyslexic, she thinks. Now, the issue is dyslexia affects more than just reading and writing. There are other things. Beyond that class, I think I've been in number 1. I've been excellent academically. I wouldn't have been a doctor by now, although I struggled at that level. Thank God, I think there was a lot of emotional support. That comment at home, if you failed, for example, they said he has failed, my dad would cane you. But because the teacher said he tries, although things are still difficult, I was saved from the caning at that point. And I think that turned things around. So emotional support is very important as parents. When you see your daughter, son struggling, be part of it. Be part of the struggle. You know, if somebody encourages you and looking at what other things you can do, I told you when I presented that dyslexia comes along with the talents. In our family, we are musicians. I'm excellent, I can say that, in singing. I sang. And as a teacher, head teachers were fighting for me. I've never looked for a job in my life. I was retained by the college when I finished grade 3 to remain as a tutor. I taught for 1 year. I went to Chambogo to do a diploma. At Chambogo University, I was retained as a lecturer. I went to the University of Newcastle upon Tyne. They wanted to retain me. But because the donor said no, Paul should return to Uganda. And I remained in Chambogo until I felt I'd taken enough and I left. But why? Talent. People with dyslexia are full of energy. You can see that. They're never tiring. But because of comorbidity, dyslexia comes along with other things. For example, emotionality. Many of our children, they resort to fighting. They fight a lot. Because when you exert a lot of pressure, they'll fight. Parents, you can witness this. And I've seen some of them say, Mbireseo, they leave. I've seen some even in the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. They can't tolerate challenges because of their emotionality. So work with their emotions, tell them it will be well. Once you say that, you are at peace with them. But should you challenge, they can fight back. In fact, that's why we have got a lot of domestic violence attributed to dyslexia and ADD. So there is a lot of we can do. Now, let me summarize in the interest of time. Things are here. One, obviously the challenge of the inability to tell quickly left from right creates a lot of trouble for these people. Even if they have they academically okay, because majority of them, intelligence is not an issue. They are intelligent. Music, people think that you have to be there to do music. Music, you need to be very creative. Music and dance. So, but the inability to tell quickly left from right creates a lot of trouble. That's why we have got spelling problems. Instead of book, you do a duke, and so on. It is the directionality in the brain. Then secondly, the issue of poor organizational skills. Organizational skills. Arranging things in order. And the worst, time management. You tell them the meeting starts at 8 in the morning, they come at 2. Because it is 2, 8 and 2, 8 in the morning, somebody will think in the vernacular. And you will come at 2. You wait, some people will turn up when we have gone. Wait. You will see that. And that is typical. Now,
Thank you, Doctor. Are you summarizing?
let me end with this.
Okay.
Let me end with this.
Yes.
We need to create screening centers. I carried something that I will share with you that every teacher should have as the children arrive in school. Just a pager. It has got one side, dyslexia, the other side is ADD. Just that, a screener. Can be done by the parent, you can take it away. If we have got a central pool where we can throw it, it is here via WhatsApp, we can share it. You go and screen your own children. It can screen from kindergarten up to high school. You can use it. Free of charge, free of charge. That is my gift to you. So while we do that, let me tell you, brothers and sisters, dyslexia is just not one type. Every person with dyslexia is different from the other. That's why you should not create a class for them. They may have this challenge and not have the other. So we need to integrate them in a normal system. Work towards studying together with the others. That's how we have succeeded. If we're kept in special schools, we will not be what we are today. But it's hard work when the system doesn't recognize your weaknesses and strengths. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Kindly hand the microphone to the lady next to you and then the lady in black, and we shall close the questions.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Nagai. I'm so happy that the gentleman who has just spoken was my lecturer, Chambogo. I'm a special need teacher too, and I worked in this school. Madame also received me here after my college. Now I work in Lohana Academy. That's why they have sent me here. So my question is, I'm inquiring. In schools, not Rohana, but what I know, in schools, there are some children with special needs education. I mean with special needs. And I'm inquiring, like me, a teacher there, teaching there, if I spot that there is a child there, then I tell the next teacher, it goes on and like they can take care of that child well. So is it allowed that child to write P7 from there and gets a special need teacher to help him or her out to write if that school is not registered as a special needs school? Is it allowed?
Yes. I am now becoming a panelist. Commissioner, please respond to that
Quickly
shortly.
to respond to that.
Yes.
At the time of registering children with UNEB, you indicate that you indicate that particular child as you're registering that he's a special needs child. Then later UNEB will come and assess. and then later they will send a person to support the child. The school shouldn't be a special needs school. No, it is any school.
Thank you so much, the lady in black.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
My name is Genevieve Bamui Dukile, and mine is an ask to the government representatives here. As much as we are speaking about inclusion, and I work with disability, as much as we're speaking about inclusion, my ask is, can we be able to send the different disability special needs teachers in their schools? Because you find a school saying they are inclusive, but then they have someone supporting hearing impairment. And the ones with, say, intellectual disability come to school, but they cannot be supported meaningfully. So my ask to the Special Needs Commissioner is if they could be able to, as they send special needs teachers, to send different special needs teachers that can support the different disabilities that are in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, hello. At least mine is still speaking. Okay. Commissioner, there is a lady in a floral dress. She has her hand up. Let her speak and let's close. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to close this session after her because we have lunch time and the panelists will be here with us. Please, you can have a one-on-one with them. That is why we are having lunch together, so that we are able to share. Please go on.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Chiza Yvonne Gladys. I am a pediatric resident from Makerere University, and we practice at Mulago National Referral Hospital. So I recognize the presence of our lecturer, Professor Angelina Kakoza. Professor, you're very welcome. Thank you for the invitation, as well as my classmates. Yes, what is our role as the pediatrics department to the nation? Yes, mothers, we recognize your need and pain, and we are with you in this. So maybe to clarify that we are going to take on the project and work with Dr. Njuchi, with the Pediatric Association of Uganda. We are going to develop a tool to help parents screen, and that tool will undergo verification. We shall hand it over to the Uganda Pediatric Association, and it will be forwarded to the Ministry of Health, and it will be included for all parents to address all this need, and it will be available for all the parents. Yes. Then another thing is that we would like to inform you that we have clinics for children with special needs. We have a neurology clinic in Mulago every Monday and Thursday. Then we have a mental health clinic for children as well in Mulago. And Professor Kakoza, she can address all your needs, and we work under her supervision, so you're always welcome. If you feel your child is not well, you can always come in. Our role as residents in training and the future pediatricians, we shall always take the history. We shall diagnose your patients, your children rather, because they're our patients then. Then we shall treat all their comorbidities. We shall link them up to this school because we always work with these schools. We are in partnership with them. Then we shall do supportive follow-ups for them to enable them achieve maximum potential for life and live a nearly normal life. Yes, that's all I had to do. And we always have a checklist to help the mothers feel better. And we also have support psychology and counseling. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing. Professor, thank you for honoring our invitation and being part of this gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel bad to leave you out, to leave your questions out, but we are now going to the panelists to give us one final word each. And during lunchtime, ensure that you interact with each of them. One word. We shall start with Mr. Sean Paul. One word to the audience.
I would like to tell other schools to help us children who have dyslexia to also be able to pass like others, and to not intimidate us or let us down, but support us and help us to achieve higher goals. We all want to become different people, but dyslexia is in our way, but I know if you give us a support, we can be better. and not only in books. You're better in sports, academic, co-curricular activities, and other things. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Sean Paul is our learner from Hill Preparatory Inclusive School. Thank you so much for the call. And yes, Mr. Sebuliva.
Myself, I'm just encouraged that we have an awareness day. It would be nice to have more of these awareness days. Yeah, that is all.
Thank you so much. Mr. Sebuliva appreciates the awareness day. Janet?
I'm really excited by this moment, and I just want to say I have this vision, and as you were talking, the vision was, imagine this school in every town and village, so children could be included all the way through. I just want to say thank you, Claire, for inviting me today. And secondly, Jane is holding up the D-Day dyslexia leaflet that the team have put together. Please, before you leave today, make sure you take a leaflet with you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Sarah Bugosi.
Thank you so much, everyone who is here. I want to say I'm not going back the same way I came. I have learnt a lot. And I want to tell you that I'm taking a lot of your thoughts to the Ministry of Education and Sports. Like somebody said, yes, inclusion is the way to go. But as a country, we are still very far from inclusion. And I want to say that what you noted is really true. We are having learners entering these schools, but the support is not there. We do not have the right teachers in the right places. And we cannot claim that all is okay. Lastly, in area of disability, it requires a multidisciplinary team. Like you have heard, it's not only education to do everything. And I'm happy to hear about our friends from Makerere. I know Dr. because I think we've met in different other things, but I'm happy that we are meeting here. And I want to say, I think this is the time you, Makerere, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, should come up really to support the parents. Like you have heard, they in a dilemma, they do not know where to run. They're only saying government, government, and yet we are the people here who are government, and we should do a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Madam Esther Akwi from UNICEF.
Thank you very much. And the few words I'd like to say is we have some takeaways from this, for sure. And maybe for the Madam Claire, I know we've met in different fora, but I think we'll do some follow-ups later. I think you'll be opening your doors for us. But I think I wanted to make a point to the lady from Makerere. UNICEF is doing a pilot, I think it's running now 4th year, on early identification and diagnosis, 0 to 3 years in hospitals. So you may want to check with our team, together with Ministry of Health, before you may want to opt for another tool, because there's already what they're using. So maybe before you go to another one, you may want to check on that. Thank you.
Thank you for that information, Madam Esther. Mr. Eid Mubarak from KCCA.
Thank you. I want to tell you that for us as KCCA, we are ready to support you, parents. Just call that number that I gave you. We shall give you an appointment. You bring the child. We assess that child. And the assessment is free of charge. Yes. It is free of charge, so we shall support you. And lastly is a request. Ladies and gentlemen, number one, I want to thank the organizers of this training, of this event. But the request is that next time, possibly we can put it in an open place. The microphones here, the message that comes from these microphones would go far, would reach many people out there who are not even in the tent. But right now it is limited. We want, yes, we can have space, free spaces around town, or cheaper spaces around town. So let us go out of the school environment. My thinking is that most of the people who are within this environment are a bit aware. But now we want to capture the wider community out there. And thank you so much to the press, because I know you're sending this message far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mbaraka. Thank you. Actually, this is our second Dyslexia Awareness Day. And as the organizing team, we thought it is important to have it in the schools so that the community sees that it is real, it exists, but inclusion is also very possible to help the learners go through their education system. Teacher Angela, your final remarks.
Mine is, remember, dyslexia does not define you. It does not define your student. It does not define your child. It does not define you as a person. If Joel, together with Anne, Joel is a person living with dyslexia, if he did not share his story, if he did not put it out to those of Anne and Doctor and be like, why don't we organize a Dyslexia Awareness Day, we would not be here. So if you have dyslexia, share your story. We are here to create awareness. Don't stop here. Go to your WhatsApp groups. Talk about dyslexia as teachers. Talk about it as professionals. Talk about it everywhere you go. Make it a gospel. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, together, help me thank the sign language interpreters. They have spoken to us in the silent language. I am going to return this to the MC. Please thank me for moderating. Our panelists, you can take any comfortable seat.
They can maintain their seats because we're actually almost drawing to a close.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Leah,
MC.
Diane, Sarah, please let's give her a round of applause. This has been very, very amazing. Well, I think now I see why leaders in Africa don't like to transfer power, because for a while there I thought you'd not give it back to me, but thank you. Thank you for honoring the agreement. But yes, it's been a very exciting discussion. There's someone who actually, well, I'm being told, please do not quote me, assassinate me for this. I have only been told that the person who gave birth to this idea, or at least one of the people that gave birth to this idea, is Joel Chigozi. Is he here?
Yes, he is. The
Over there,
gentleman
please,
in
just,
white.
Yeah, just come and stand here and everybody sees you. He's one of the people who, or what, the person that actually
And
gave
he
birth
has
to this
dyslexia.
idea.
So, Mama, it's not just Angela, it's not just Doctor. We are many of us who have made it. So there is hope. There is
Joe,
hope.
thank you so much. This
Yes.
is very, very beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Joe. Thank you. Also, I was right. Nobody's going to beat me for that. Also, I want to celebrate the various head teachers that are here. Please, show of hands, or if you can stand up, stand up. We'll just give you a round of applause. The various head teachers that are here. Head teachers. Yes, there's 2 of you, 3, 4, 5. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the various schools. There's something that's going to come up, but just before I give you the excitement from the students, I have one person, because we've talked about so many different things, so many various topics. I want one person who is in the perfect position to just tie this discussion together and wrap it up. She has a laundry list of assignments that she has handled before this. She's been an educational researcher, a communication specialist, a teacher, a trainer, a director, but now she is the manager of she's an early childhood development manager, basic education and adolescent development at UNICEF. Ladies and gentlemen, for the very last time this afternoon, a resounding round of applause for Nada Elata.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was about to say good evening, but good afternoon. Thank you so much. It's actually very difficult to speak after such a great panel and such great moderation and wonderful speakers throughout the day, but I will do my best. Thank you to Hill Preparatory School for hosting us, to the dear children. Thank you to the government of Uganda, to the children. And I really want to thank the brave parents, professionals, and teachers who've spoken up today about the different issues and their experience with dyslexia personally and also professionally, and with their children at home. And also to Sean Paul, for coming out and representing the children with dyslexia. And all protocol observed, just in case I've missed anyone. As mentioned, I am the ECD manager at UNICEF Uganda. And in terms of early childhood development, we look at all aspects of development and emphasize the importance of early detection of disabilities and developmental delays. So much has already been said by so many people, but I will take this opportunity to wrap up some of the things that have been said, to synthesize, and also to maybe add a few new things. So we heard many times today that dyslexia is really the brain processing the written language differently from other people. It's important to emphasize again, people with dyslexia, including myself, and I don't know if you selected all the speakers, to have some form of dyslexia. There's a range, as we've heard. Some people have mild forms. I have a very mild form, and others have more, I would say, more serious forms that require more intervention. So, again, people with dyslexia have normal vision and intelligence. However, what happens is if the dyslexia is not detected, if you cannot read and write properly, you cannot learn. That is the truth. So early intervention is very important. I heard somebody earlier saying it starts at home. While early detection can begin at home for many disabilities and developmental delays at home, when it comes to dyslexia, I would emphasize the importance of early childhood development centers and schools, because that is when children begin to read and write, and that is when you can begin to detect that there is a potential delay or the potential for dyslexia to be identified so that interventions can take place. We talked about the symptoms already, but I will just, if you excuse me, just to again summarize them. So late talking can potentially be one of the signs of dyslexia. Learning new words slowly. Delay in learning to read. So a delay in learning to speak and learning to read can be some of the earlier signs. Difficulty memorizing, spelling, thinking and understanding because of the inability to grasp the written language. But on a positive note, most children can succeed. As we've heard, as we've seen, most children can succeed if they're given the right tutorials or the right support, and the earlier the better their outcomes. I'll also talk about a few other things. I promise I will say some positive things, but just to also emphasize that dyslexia can present itself in, it can be mild, as we said, or more severe. It can present itself by confusing letters, shapes, reluctance to read out loud. So as a teacher, if you have a student who doesn't want to read out loud, doesn't feel comfortable, that may be something to also look for. Mixing up the position of letters and sounds. Trouble with directions. We heard left, right, but also up and down in other directions. And then trouble with rhyming words, words that sound similar and maybe look similar. I mentioned already early detection and the importance of it. But I want to take a moment to also emphasize the strengths of people with dyslexia, which I think was mentioned earlier as well. So, I think when something is taken, something else is given in some ways, and even people with visual impairments may have better hearing than other people, and so there's some compensation. And we heard about the right side of the brain being larger in this case. So children with disabilities, or people with dyslexia or children with dyslexia tend to have better problem-solving skills, thinking outside of the box, creative thinking, spatial reasoning, so memory of the environment around us, the virtual environment, the three-dimensional environment, strong memory when it comes to stories and facts, empathy towards others, so the capacity to be empathetic, is also a very something that's a strength as humans. They tend to be good at puzzles and problem solving, hands-on learning, and again, coming up with original ideas and creative thinking. We heard earlier, and I do not want to contradict anything that has been said. I think everything has been very valid. But when it comes to early detection of dyslexia, the interventions to support teachers and parents are not expensive interventions. We saw examples in the Chininga session earlier. They can be very cheap, very low cost, ways of being able to detect. And so I think what we need to do, and what I encourage us to do, is to take those examples and try to, make sure that they are everywhere, in every school. Whether through it's the broader teacher trainings, we need to make this endemic, part of our system. This is a great example today, but as was mentioned, we should see this in every school. This can be a model for every school in Uganda to emulate. I will end just by continuing as UNICEF and as all development partners and everybody, all stakeholders in this room, to advocate for policy and, more importantly, action plans and costed action plans that are funded to implement those policies. And an idea I had, which I will end with this idea, is the great brochure that we have seen today that was produced and circulated. This can be one of the first things that maybe goes up on the website, with permission from the people who've developed it. This is an easy thing to do, and maybe the information in it, as one of our colleagues in the audience mentioned, can be distributed to parents and teachers through SMS messages, etc. It's just an idea, but I think it's an easy thing to do that we can do immediately after here. I will end by thanking you all for the invitation. I hope this has been, my last intervention has been useful as a summary. And again, thank you so much. I will end here, so I know people are hungry and they want to see the performance. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, no better way to crown this event than our children actually showing us what they understand and know about dyslexia. So help me welcome the Hill Preparatory Drama Club.
Tracy, remember the other dog that died in the toilet?
Yes, it was smelly.
Even the other man who was walking like a bodo.
Yes.
The other man who had gray hair, remember?
Yes, he was looking so ugly.
Even he was walking like a bodo. Then after that, he fell in the toilet.
Yes, I laughed. Oh.
This guy, you saw him.
Stop. Can you keep quiet? Is this Nakawa market or a classroom?
A classroom.
Anyway, good morning, class.
Good morning, teacher
A team. I have your end of term to examinations. Now you look at her, just walking around this classroom. You girl, you can't settle down. Don't mind her. Some of you failed and some of you passed. We have Matthew with a 96. Please, may you clap for him. Gumisi Riza with a 95. Please, may you also clap for her.
Wait.
We have Tiara with a 94. Please, may you also clap for her. She tried.
Mine is the next, don't worry.
Melan with the 89. Please, may you also clap for her. She tried. Antonia with the 85. Please, may you clap for her. Esther with the 80. Please, may you also clap for her. She tried. Next time, I want a 90 from you. Tracy with a 79. Please, may you clap for her. Kalanzi, 76. Please, may you also clap for him. He tried. Joe. But who's this fool that can't even write her name?
Joanne! But I know how to write my name.
But you girl, aren't you tired of being in this class?
Jaja classy.
These people found you here, they are going to leave you here.
Jaja class. How to write
Which type of soil were you made from?
mud soil.
You see? I wish your father just planted a jackfruit tree instead of paying for your school fees. Now why is she crying? Have I caught on her?
No.
Class dismissed.
Oh, my children, welcome back.
From school. Thank you. Let me see. Oh my God, my daughter got
Wow.
a 96.
You got a 99 in math.
Wow, you
Yes,
should be
Daddy.
proud.
What do you want?
I want a phone.
I am going to buy it for
You will
you.
receive two.
Daddy, I got a 98 in science.
98 in
Wow,
science.
my son
Wow.
got a
Going to-
99.
what do you want?
I want an iPad.
I'm going to buy it for you.
If my son
Thank you,
was,
Daddy.
if my son was to write a paper with King Solomon, who would pass it? Of course, my son would.
Daddy, I've got a 96 in essence. I got a 90 in science.
Wow, my lawyer. What do you want?
My children
I'm going
passed
to buy
their
it for
exams
you.
with flying colors. You should be proud.
The children have made me proud. But where is this girl, Joanne?
Simanyi, I've been sitting with you here the whole time. Have I gone anywhere? Have I? There she is.
Bring the report.
Joanne, please hurry up. Save time.
Bring the report.
Joanne, please give the report.
Daddy, don't quarrel, please. Daddy, don't quarrel. Please, Daddy, don't quarrel.
I be paying school fees for you.
Banana, this
You
girl has killed
they are getting from
me.
me 01.
Come down.
And why should I come down?
Come down. She's
And why
still
should
a
I come
young
down?
child. Come down.
Please, I'm
Your
sorry.
siblings are wiser than you.
Come down. She's still a young child. Come down.
I even wish I brought a cow more than you.
Come down. Joanne, stop crying. Come down.
I said, why should I come down like that?
Still a young child. Come down.
Banae, what's going on? Why are you quarreling the whole village?
It is Joanne. She's performing badly. I don't know what to do for her, but I think the only solution is marriage.
It's yeah, that's the best thing that you do.
Let me see.
Mommy, no, I don't
Hey,
want to go for marriage.
I can see the problem here is reading, writing, and spelling. I think Joanne has dyslexia. Dyslexia.
Dyslexia.
Hey.
No wonder she took all the spiritual problems from the mother's side.
I don't have spiritual problems.
Hey, spiritual problems indeed.
I don't
They
have.
are not. Dyslexia is a learning disability whereby the child is unable to read and write.
You say
Dyslexia.
Okay, this is that one.
You can help Joanne in many different ways.
Okay.
You can transcribe for her.
Help her in doing her homework.
Help her in spelling exercise. And many others.
Okay.
And there are many schools around the country which can help Joanne's condition. There is one I know. It's called Hill Preparatory School.
Where is it found?
It's found in Naguru. You can go to the school, talk with the teachers. They'll find a way of helping Joanne.
Banange neighbor, thank you. We are going to die in this house.
Hey, now you were just quarreling for that the whole village. Next time don't quarrel for us. You're welcome, neighbor.
Thank
One
you.
my neighbor, let me escort you. I think I found out how to sort out with your daughter.
Joanne, let me wind up and we go check out that school.
Thank you so much. Well done. I've worked hard.
Center for Lifelong Learning, Backup, Opportunity Bank, Hill Preparatory, Little Cranes Montessori, Photogenics, Humanity and Inclusion. Who have I left out? Nudipu. Thank you very much, all the funders, our parents. We've reached out to you and we've asked for help. You've not held it back, you've given us. Thank you very much, parents, for helping us. Thank you very much, each and every one of you, for honoring our invitations, for answering those phone calls. Some of you would have chosen to ignore and not come, but you went ahead to honor those invitations. Thank you very much.
A special note, so Squamish Uganda has been streaming this event on their Facebook page and on Q Media. Yes, on Q Media. So if you've missed any part of this event, or if you want to catch that exciting acting all over again, just head to their Facebook page. That's on Squamish Uganda, or Q Media's YouTube page. You should be able to watch it again.
I mean, it's good to have a recap of everything.
Oh, yes.
I might as well watch this.
Oh yes, you should, you should. Now, as we wrap up, we want to, there's a saying, a 21st century saying, that if you don't take a picture of it, it did not happen.
Definitely.
So if we want to make sure that today happened, so I'll just first ask our panelists to just stand for the first photo moment.
As our panelists are having their first photo session, we'll have it right here.
Oh, yes,
we shall have the
just stand.
organizing committee come and be part of it.
Yes.
And then after that, we shall have the head teachers from different schools. We can't have all teachers here, but we prefer to have the head teachers.
So
And
first is the panelists.
Yes.
So just quickly the panelists, let's just get done with that photo moment. Then the organizing committee, get
Next.
ready and join into the picture. Oh, no, all the way to the front, because this picture is going to grow big. So
Yes.
yeah,
We
need
are
as
creating
much space as
awareness, so this
possible.
needs to
Yeah,
go
this picture is going to go
far
very,
and
very
wide.
big very quickly. So yeah, the panelists.
Yeah, I'm a panelist. So
Are we done with the picture? All right, the first picture is the panelists. The organizers, please just get ready. We want you to join in there. Madam Claire, you really need to get in there. The organizers, please jump in and let's join in. The
Let's.
organizers. Join
Thank
into
you
the
very
picture.
much, our panelists. Next, let's
organizers,
have our
quickly, let's
organizers,
join in
the
there.
organizing committee of this event.
Let's join in. Organizing committee, everybody who's been part of the organizing. And,
There is an echo that I have to really be in this picture.
all right. Then organizing committee. All right. Then let's have the head teachers. Head teachers, please join in.
Thank you very
No,
much.
just stay there. If you're part of the picture is just supposed to grow bigger. So
Yes.
everybody who is there stays there.
we just add on to it. The head teachers just join
Sorry.
in.
Let's have head teachers from different institutions.
The head teachers present, please join into the picture.
I think we should have, I will help with the directions. Have a few people in front, maybe some standing behind. I don't know if there is space. Sean Paul, could you be up there? Daddy Miti, maybe we could go up a little bit. Thank you very much, head teachers, for coming. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Let's get a little bit in front here. There is a bit of congestion here.
At the front.
Oh dear, sorry about that.
Okay, so let's just have to start a little forward. I hope everybody is okay, but please remember, we actually have food for you.
Yes, let's
Yeah,
not
we
go
have
hungry.
A lot of food for you. Everybody is supposed to eat at least twice today. So please just get ready for that final part of the program. Oh yes, so let's just
So,
have the
parents.
parents represent. Oh, please hold, but let's not stand on the stage. Parents and teachers are going to join in, and then after we just go for lunch.
A special thanks also to Special Olympics for being part of this organization.